I want to begin with this question. Is there anybody here who thinks that he deserves the mercy of God? Is there anyone who feels that he deserves the mercy of God? If you are such a person, can I see your hands up? I can see so many of you. Now let me shock you. Let me shock you. You have committed an abomination. You have just committed a very big abomination to say that you deserve the mercy of God. Remember the word, deserve. I want to tell you a story. A young military officer committed a terrible offense. The offense was so serious that he was to be court-martialed. Now the mother of this young officer ran to the commander in charge to plead on her son's behalf. This woman was crying and pleading and requesting the officer to have mercy on her son. So as this woman was crying and requesting and pleading for mercy, this officer wanted to dismiss this woman by telling the woman, "Madam, I'm sorry, your son does not deserve mercy. Your son does not deserve mercy." The woman responded by telling the officer, "That is exactly why I came. Nobody deserves mercy. My son does not deserve it. If actually my son deserved to have mercy, I would have gone to court to demand for it. I didn't come here to seek justice. I came to ask for mercy. Because it is in the nature of mercy to be a free gift. Nobody deserves mercy. To say that you deserve mercy is to say you have rights to this. And you can even go to court to enforce that right. Nobody deserves mercy. Mercy is purely a gratuitous gift from God. That is why if you read Psalm 130, you see where the psalmist is saying, if you, O Lord, should mark our guilt, nobody would survive. It was this understanding that made David in 2 Samuel chapter 7 to say, who am I, Lord? What is my lineage for you to have led me this far? Abumonye kine cheremo chukwoma onye njọ dịka mụ kine chereo chukwoma. Whoever made this song has a perfect understanding of God's mercy. That it is purely a free gift that nobody deserves. And once we have this understanding, then we can always approach the mercy throne of God, the mercy seat of God, from anywhere and any point. Because you are going there believing that this is freely a gift. This is truly a gift nobody deserves. That is why from time to time, when you see people make some statements, I begin to wonder whether these people really understand God. You will see people who will come and say, Father, I have done such a terrible thing. I don't think God will ever forgive me. I don't think I will ever deserve God's mercy. Nobody deserves God's mercy. So unless we get it right today, and we stop using this language, deserve, we will always approach the mercy throne of God with fear and trembling. We always go there believing that, oh, I haven't done enough. I don't think I will get it. I haven't done enough. I don't think I will deserve it. The reason why the church brought the solemnity we are celebrating today, divine mercy, is to open us to understand the riches of God's mercy. How powerful, how immense, and how nobody deserves it. That is why if you understood the drama that played in the Mount Calvary, when Jesus was in the extremity of his pain and anguish, the soldiers were mocking him, taunting him. If you are the Son of God, come down here, we're going to believe you. They were saying all manner of atrocities and abominables. Jesus looked down upon them and said, Father, Forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. That is the greatest evidence that mercy is a free gift. Because nobody on that cross ever made any apology. Nobody on that cross ever told Jesus, please forgive us. Please have mercy on us. But God granted it. If you read the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, when the scribes and Pharisees started criticizing Jesus because he was meeting with the tax collectors and sinners, they said, look at this man. How come he's meddling with these great sinners? And Jesus told 3 powerful parables. That parable is the parable that exposed the mysterious nature of God's mercy. The parable of the lost sheep, the parable of the prodigal son, and the parable of the lost coin. Jesus told this parable as a way of telling those who were criticizing him why he is so disposed towards sinners. That he actually came for the lost sheep of Israel. In fact, it was because if there is anything to deserve the mercy of God, if we can use that way, it is because they are sinners and nothing again. So I want to change our mindset today. And the mindset I want to change today is this. Never you for one day think that you deserve the mercy of God. Mercy of God is absolutely a free gift. And that is why never you hesitate any day, any time, any moment to approach God for his mercy. Because nobody deserves it. If God should mark our guilt, nobody will survive. A bishop went to prison to pray for the prisoners there. As he was meeting with them and praying for them, he began to talk and preach to them. And then he told them, the only difference between you people and myself is that you committed crime, you were caught. I committed, I was not caught. But as for crime, all of us deserve to be punished. The person that made this statement, for me, has this humility to acknowledge the fact that we all are sinners. And because we all are sinners, we don't deserve mercy. We deserve to be in prison, save for the mercy of God. Once we understand this, it will even change our arrogant attitude towards sinners. Remember the question Jesus was asked in the Gospel of John chapter 9 about a man born blind. And they were asking him, this man born blind, is he because of the sin of his parents or his own sin? That was the question. In that case, the person who was asking this question believes that the reason why I'm not blind is because I'm not a sinner. The reason why the person is blind is because someone might have committed a sin. Therefore, no mercy was shown to him. Whenever we see mercy as something we deserve, we will always find ourselves condemning sinners. Because we always see mercy as something we merited, as a merit. Therefore, we worked for it. We can even go to court and press to enforce it. But if you understand it as an absolute free gift, then it calls for humility. And not just humility, it also gives us this courage to approach God, believing that God will always welcome us. I've met a lot of people who said, Father, it's been long I prayed. I don't know if I pray, God will hear me. It's been long I confess my sin. It's been over years. I'm so scared. I don't know what will become of me if I approach God. God is not concerned about how long it has taken. God is not bothered about all these things, because the point that mercy is a free gift. It's something nobody deserves. It's something that is given generously. There was a story of a priest who went to prison on a prison apostolate. And the prisoners were coming one by one to confess their sin. They were coming one by one. And then it got to the point of one of the criminals. The man came, knelt, after confessing his sin. There was one essential thing the priest was expecting him to say, which was to say, both those I remembered and those I did not remember, I have done perfect contrition, which is a condition for absolution whenever you go for sacramental confession. Contrition is a condition for absolution. Now, Now, this criminal could not say it. The priest called his attention and said, you have not expressed contrition for your sin. Are you not sorry for your sin? The man says, sorry? Why should I be sorry? No, I'm not sorry. I enjoyed my sin while I committed them. In fact, the reason why I am not committing them is because I'm here. If I should get my freedom, I will go back and continue with my sin. So I'm not sorry for committing those sins. This priest was in a dilemma. How then do I absolve this man? If there is no contrition, then the confession is not complete. It was in this dilemma, then, by stroke of inspiration and insight, the priest asked a question. And what was the question? He asked him, are you sorry for not being able to feel sorry for your sin? Are you sorry for not being able to feel sorry for your sin? The criminal said, yes, I'm sorry for not being able to feel sorry for my sin. The moment he said this, the priest absolved him. Later, a pope was commenting on this anecdote, on this story. And the pope said, this is to tell you that the mercy of God can be given practically on nothing. The mercy of God can be granted practically on nothing. That God needs even as something as little as a crack, something as little as nothing to reach out his mercy. This will now explain to you the mysterious nature of God's mercy. It's something unfathomable. It's something unbelievable. And that is why, I don't know the man who said that on the last day there will be surprises. Surprises that those we have condemned and sent to hell in this world, we will be surprised to see them in heaven. Those we have sent to heaven by our judgment, they might be in hellfire. And then maybe the third surprise that you that call yourself a sinner might find yourself in heaven to be able to see these things. That is the mercy of God. A certain woman ran to St. Alfonso de Liguori, crying and telling Alfonso de Liguori, I am done for. My husband has gone to hellfire. Alfonso drew back and said, hellfire? How did you come about that? Who told you your husband is in hellfire? The woman said, my husband just committed suicide. He jumped from a bridge into the river, killing himself. Having committed suicide, he has gone beyond God's mercy. Alfonso shook his head and then asked the woman, was there a gap between the bridge and the river? The woman could not make sense of the question. Alfonso came again and said, as in the bridge and the river, do they have the same level, or was the bridge up and the river down? The woman said, of course, the bridge was up and the river was down. Alfonso told him, that distance between the bridge and the river is enough for the mercy of God to catch up with your husband. Go. Don't think about that again. That distance between the bridge and the river is enough for the mercy of God to catch up with your husband. You see the mysterious nature of God's mercy. That is what we are celebrating today. Never you for one day speak the language of a pessimist who will say, I don't think God would ever forgive me. I have done the unthinkable. I have done abominable. I have done the unimaginable. Once you can approach the throne of God's mercy, go there with trusting confidence that there is a God who is not ready to count our iniquities. Prophet Ezekiel told us that God has no desire in the death of a wicked man. Rather, let him turn from his evil ways in order to live. Mercy of God is a way of giving us second chance. There are people today whose story would have ended as a tragic one if not the mercy of God found them and gave them second chance. Think of David. David committed abominable. He slept with Bathsheba. He killed the husband Uriah. He was such a terrible man. But when the mercy of God caught hold of him, David was the one who was crying, who am I, Lord? What is my lineage for you to have led me this far? Why didn't you judge me according to my iniquities? That is the mercy of God. Look at St. Paul, who is regarded as the greatest apostle of the Gentile. If we divide the New Testament into 3, St. Paul will take 2. He wrote letters to almost many Christian communities. But St. Paul was a sworn enemy of Christian faith, a formidable persecutor of Christians. It was on his way to Damascus that the mercy of God caught hold of him and changed his story forever. So the mercy of God is also a way of telling you that as a sinner, you can be given a second chance. It's such a mysterious phenomenon. We can't comprehend it. The mercy of God. So whenever I meet people who come to me with this pessimism, with this fear, with this notion that I have done terrible, God cannot, I'm always saddened. Because it's even a sin for you to doubt the mercy of God. And that is what the church is telling us today. In the year 1981, the Pope, who made second Sunday of Easter Divine Mercy Sunday, John Paul II, was almost assassinated by a man called Mehmet Ali Akka. 1981, 2 years after being elected the Pope, he was elected Pope in 1979. 2 years after, during one of his Wednesday audience, he was in his post mobile and was moving around greeting the pilgrims gathered at St. Peter's Square. An internationally acclaimed assassin, a man who has never missed any single target ever since he started killing people. That day, his victim was Pope John Paul II. He shot him at a very close range. The surgery Pope John Paul underwent to remove the bullet lasted more than 6 hours. In fact, the doctors who conducted the surgery were surprised that John Paul survived the attack. Because the bullet, the man has never missed any of his target. In fact, John Paul II said that it was the hand of Mary that guided that bullet. It was the hand of Mary that guided that bullet. Because the man was aimed at killing him. The way Pope John Paul recovered from the hospital, he drove straight to the prison where the man was incarcerated and had an audience that lasted about 20 minutes where he forgave the man. And the world could not believe this. That is a practical expression of mercy. So if there is anybody here who wants to practice mercy, I want you to have it at the back of your mind that nobody deserves mercy. If you are practicing mercy, you are giving a gratuitous gift. If you want to practice justice, that one is another level. But mercy is the fullness of justice. Mercy is restoration. That is why mercy is bigger than justice. It incorporates justice. The idea of justice is to give the offender what he deserves. But mercy is to restore the offender to his original status, to win his friendship, to bring him to the side of love. That is the idea of mercy. If you can practice mercy as a child of God, then be ready to experience mercy. Because blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. If you can practice mercy, you are almost exercising something that is close to what God does. So whenever you want to show people mercy, always know it that people don't deserve mercy. Because from time to time, you'll be like, she's not even showing any remorse. So why should I be merciful to him? That is not mercy. So forget it. If you also understand the idea of mercy, then some of us here who demand forgiveness or mercy from people, we should not be doing that. From time to time, you see people who will cluster around a place of incident, and then you see them shouting, forgive him now, forgive him. I think he has apologized to you. You don't do that kind of thing. I have met an accident scene where a careless driver smashed the rear bumper of a woman's car. And everybody came around and we were telling the woman, Madam, forgive him, forgive him, forgive him. The woman just kept her cool. Everybody was shouting, forgive him, forgive him, forgive him. Hasn't he apologized to you? Hasn't he apologized to you? The woman just stood there. As all the voices were just rising, this woman did something that stunned everybody. She went to her car trunk, brought a weapon, went to a particular man who was almost at the forefront of those demanding that she forgives the man, smash his two headlamps and turn to the man and say, forgive me. Forgive me. Everybody was surprised. Of course, this is way too extreme. But the point is this. Nobody deserves mercy. And because nobody deserves mercy, you don't demand it. Because it's a free gift. You don't demand it. If the person wants to give 5, if the person doesn't want to give, you face justice. The woman has right to force the man to repair her car. She has that right. You can go to court and press charges. But if it is mercy, it has to come freely from her disposition. So my message today to all of us is this. Nobody deserves mercy. It is a free gift. And because it is a free gift, let us always dispose ourselves in humility to approach God to receive that mercy. Let us not be quick to judge and condemn our brothers and sisters. And let us not sit in our comfort and be saying, it is because this person did this, that is why this tragedy befell him. There was a classroom teacher that conducted a very beautiful experiment I fell in love with. This teacher came into the class and told his children to write things that happened to them in their life for which they felt they do not deserve. Things that happened to them for which they felt they do not deserve. And they started writing. This one wrote how his mother seized his Android phone. This one wrote how his father prevented him from attending a particular birthday of his friend. This one wrote how he missed out from this. They wrote negative things that happened to them. No single person wrote a particular positive thing that happened to him as something he do not deserve. Many times our attitude are like this. We feel we don't deserve evil happening to us. And then by some stroke of imagination, we feel we deserve good things happening to us all the time. It's not always the case. There were those who were born blind. How do we explain it? There were those who were born crippled. How do we explain it? You married, within a year, you are giving birth to your first issue. Second year, you are giving birth to your second issue. Third year, you are giving birth to your third issue. Somebody is married for 20 years, no issue. How do we explain it? And you are no more religious than that person or more spiritual than that person. How do we explain it? The mercy of God explains this. So if you say, oh, I deserve to have given birth in my first year after marriage, the other person who has not given birth after 20 years of marriage, what would that person say? If we understand this, it will even make our gratitude deeper. It will make our gratitude deeper and our humility all the more genuine. That nobody can say, I deserve the good things happening to me. If you say, I'm very hardworking, there are those more hardworking than you who are barely managing to put food on their table. There are many of them. Yeah. So it's not always the fastest that wins the race. It's not always the smartest that gets the better job. I think Ecclesiastes captured it so well that time and chance happen to everybody. Time and chance happen to everybody. So the smartest don't always get the best job. The fastest don't always win the race. When we understand this, our sense of humility will come into the picture. So my central message today is this. The mercy of God is a free gift. So when next I ask you, who among you think that they deserve the mercy of God? Don't be quick to raise your hand. Know that the mercy of God is a gift. Peace be with you.